So this unboxing, these are all books from Sleeping Bear Press. So let's get started. There is 5 of them. The first is this board book called A Horse Named Jack. It is by Linda Vander Heyden and illustrated by Petra Brown. And looks like it's just like kind of like a farm animal noise and counting. So it looks like it's counting with the farm, and there's also the noises that the animals make. And kind of fun, kind of a fun read aloud. The second one is Catch a Kiss. It is by Deborah Diesen and illustrated by Kris Aro McLeod. Deborah Diesen, I feel like I know that name. I really like the illustrations. I just find the faces to be really appealing. It's very cute. I like the color scheme. It looks very sweet. It's about blowing kisses. And, you know, kind of like what you do with little kids. And so, yeah, it's just kind of like a fun game they have about blowing kisses. That looks very sweet. The next one looks like, oh, it is like perfect for Halloween coming up in October. The Ghouls Guide to Good Grammar. That's really cute too. They corrected the spelling there. Pictures by Mary Sullivan, written by Leslie Kimmelman. Also a diverse character. And this little boy's reading a zombie book. And it looks like there are aliens, maybe? It looks like it's funny. Okay, so grammar can be confusing, even if you're a ghoul. And so here's the book. It's like to good grammar. It's like so funny. So it's like grammar rules, and the ghouls are like trying to teach you how to use periods and question marks and commas. Commas are hard too. Commas are tricky. I have trouble with commas. So it's interesting because this type of grammar lesson is really more, I feel like middle school, late middle school. But here you have it as a picture book for a young audience, which I think is always a good introduction to grammar because that's important. But it isn't necessarily, you know, like a typical picture book ages for what they would be learning in school. But it looks like they did it in a fun way so that kids get introduced to grammar as a concept. They don't really have to, sort of lock it down. But it will just make grammar as a concept more familiar when they have it as a topic in part of their English language class. Okay, the next one is Saguaro's Gifts. It's about a cactus, and it is by Cyrus and illustrated by Andy Atkins. And the saguaro, I know because I'm from California, and I know like in our deserts, I'm pretty sure the saguaro grows there, and it's sort of like a mighty cactus, the way we would think of like an oak tree in the Northeast, or like a giant sequoia in the Northern California. So I don't know if this is narrative nonfiction or just straight up nonfiction, so let's take a look. So the saguaro has nectar, and this one is 100 years old. They are. I mean, like, I think they're like protected, as they should be. Ooh. Really beautiful, dramatic illustrations. And also, I feel like it's such a big deal when a cactus blooms. Like certain cactuses, it's like literally like a big event because it doesn't happen very often. But even when it's not, even when if it's more often, I just feel like when a cactus blooms, it's just like all is right in the world. And here a hummingbird takes advantage of the flower and the nectar, and butterflies and doves and bees, and it's just sort of, it is like this mighty, like what they call like a keystone species for a habitat, for an ecosystem. And the saguaro cactus, I think, certainly is for the desert. And just shows everyone who interacts and benefits from the saguaro and why it's such an important species. And it's just beautifully done with these illustrations that are so dramatic, but also lifelike, and just makes you feel very protective of the saguaro cactus, and also, you know, what a beautiful plant it is. What a beautiful cactus. So this looks great. Thank you. The last one I've heard a lot of, and I meant to cover it in more detail, but I'm like right now so behind. I just feel badly. So Isabel and the Caloris Go to School. What a beautiful cover, right? Written by Alexandra Alessandri, illustrated by Courtney Dawson. I just really love that depiction and the way that colors and the flowers are coming out of her backpack. And it is conveying like a Latinx theme. I don't know if it's from the flowers or from the color scheme. Certainly the girl. But there's just something about the flowers that is conveying that so effectively, which is sort of genius for the illustrator to do that. And we have some Spanish, it looks like, embedded into the text, which is great. And so here we learn the colors in Spanish. So it's great. Oh, and also the book is in 2 languages. Bilingual, Spanish. And they do it in such a way, too, that it's actually really well designed, so it doesn't look too busy. But they're combining the English and the Spanish. I mean, I think it's smart the way they did it with kind of these color blocks, so that you see it, so that, you know, also if you're learning Spanish, you can kind of match up the words and know what it means. But then also you're not like, wait, why is there so much text on the page? But there is Spanish embedded into the English as well. And it is about going back to school and also learning Spanish. And at her new school, she is going to learn Spanish. And so I don't know if she's learning Spanish because it's like an immersion Spanish, or if it's, maybe it's, or if she's just like starting school like in a country where she has, it's, you know, in Spanish, she has to learn Spanish. And so it's about, it, you know, it's also a good story to read for when new kids come over from other countries and they're learning English for the first time, just about like how intimidating that could be, because I think a lot of kids will have a new classmate where English is their second language. And so you can also see it from this different perspective, as if, you know, you were supposed to learn Spanish for the first time. And yeah, so I think it's great, and also a great way to be introduced to Spanish and learn Spanish words, but embedded into a story that I think all kids can relate to, whether you're trying to learn a new language or you know someone who is. All right, so thank you to Sleeping Bear Press for these books.